Hi, I would like to talk about the recent controversy, the ongoing controversy related to the comedy show and the podcast show. Uh, the reason why I'm making this video is not to point out someone or to to give my opinion about what is right or what is wrong, but because the content creator was related to spirituality. That's why I'm making this video, and I wanted to put forth my opinion upon the recent trends and what the youth is choosing to, consume, the type of content we are choosing to consume. In a world where trends shift like sand in the wind, and the content we consume and create shapes not just our present but our future also. Because while viral content, may bring fleeting fame, true impact lies in what endures, what educates, and what inspires and uplifts. So, what to consume actually? So, this controversy tells more about the audience as well as the content creators, because I think both of them are equally responsible for such type of hype which is created around this controversy. Because the audience and the creator, they are directly proportional to each other. If the audience doesn't watch such stuff, then the creator won't be creating such things, right? And because the creator is creating more and more such type of content, more and more audience is choosing to watch such type of content. It's like if there are 50 people and 49 of them are coughing and they're suffering with cold, then that one person who is absolutely normal thinks that maybe something is wrong with me. But no, they are the one who are having cold, right? So this is, just because more and more people are doing a certain thing, that doesn't make the wrong thing right. So I think, and then, for example, let's take for an example the Mahakumbh Mela. So in Mahakumbh Mela, there are so many, so many sages, so many yagya which are ongoing. But the whole media only found that one Baba who was an addict probably. That that Baba who takes weed and everything, who consumes marijuana and all of that. And then there are women of culture and every so many types of women. But the media made the hype around that one girl who sells the flowers and has colored eyes. So that is the kind of TRP. We are so hungry for TRP, we are just making anything famous. So, but there is a fine line. There is a fine line between being famous and being notorious. Everybody knows about Osama bin Laden, but is he famous? No, no, he's not famous. He is notorious, because we know that because of him, lots and lots of people suffered. We all know about Hitler, but is he famous? So we are choosing to be famous, but at what cost? What cost we are choosing to be famous? We are too quick to judge, because we were already consuming that content. There were three people who were targeted in that particular video. Number one was the comedian who was already doing it from a long time, but he was already famous. He That was his content, that what his genre. And we were completely fine with him doing that sort of comedy, and we completely enjoyed it, right? But because that podcaster who had a certain image, Ranveer had a certain image which he portrayed to the audience. He had a separate fan base and separate set of audience. He had to face more backlash. He was cancelled. But think about the other two, right? We are already enjoying both of them, right? In fact, the comedian more than the girl. I believe that the comedian who was already who is producing such a show on a large scale, I never watched a single episode of that show, because it was never suggested on my algorithm. I never consumed that type of content. Never even that sort of content was suggested to me. And I am an avid user of social media. But now that my mother and everyone in my house is, we are all listening to the opinions of others on this particular controversy. So I decided that, we were completely fine with that sort of comedy earlier, because Samay was doing it, right? But then when Ranveer did it, we were not, we were completely no, that probably he was pretentious. But do you think that, we are to judge, we are at the right position to judge someone? Because we were completely fine with it happening earlier. So this is actually, this depicts a certain mindset of the society, because it depends on the individual. We can have everything in front of us, we have the full complete plate in front of us, but it is us who choose what to consume, right? What the type of content I believe that people should consume, must, we must be, it should have a perspective. We should seek wisdom over, gossip. Even this comedy will be gone forever in a few weeks, just like a viral meme. But profound insights, the real problems, like the real problems of this society, are still not yet discussed. So I think people should, they should look at themselves before, judging someone else and having an opinion too early. And, more, people don't look at their own faults or the kind of content they are consuming. We are constantly, giving weight to sensation more than substance. We, instead of, the content creators therefore chase viral content, they chase sensation, they try to make controversy. They are not focusing on legacy, they are just chasing likes. And we must ask ourselves that, will this, even as a content creator, even I should ask myself that, will this content will be relevant in the next 5 years? And if not, it is not worth investing time in. And we are, just even the review culture, the shopping culture, where, we are just, we just want to sell something, we do not care about the after effects of that product. And we are not trying to solve anyone's problem to give something meaningful to the audience, but just to sell. Then we must, take care of the type of content we are making. As a content creator, we must ensure that the content solves or adds value to the life of, audience. And as an audience, the audience also has a social responsibility on what sort of content to follow, because you're liking, you you are, you are giving your time. However, that doesn't mean that, that doesn't justify whatever was said on the show itself. The show itself, I do not feel that was appropriate, was adding value to, but it had some crores of views, which means that the people were liking that sort of comedy. I do not feel that it made anyone laugh, because now that I went and searched for that particular video to get the context, and it did not make me laugh. Sorry. And in the end, I think authenticity wins, because, you try to, you pretend to be someone else, and one day it comes out, right? You cannot hide your true self in the long run. And people connect with real, honest and original content, and not an algorithm pleaser, or someone who, just, who's working on a particular topic just because it sells spirituality, Hinduism, all this, Indian people giving views. People are choosing to, just they use the India name just to become viral, because we have a huge audience base, huge marketplace. And so the best content, I think, must, leave people with something to think about, to act upon, or to improve their lives with. Because trend fades but impact remains. So choose wisely and create purposefully. Thank you.